live. Today, the Coach's Corner, we are talking about companionship. Let me get my buddies in here. Give me 1 second. Buddies. Buddies. Invite. Buddies. Buddies. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it
I'm going to
going?
try to prop up my phone. I usually hold it the whole time, but I'm going to do this.
We're doing it. How's it going?
So good. Tell me, it's so good to see your face. I know we just talked a few days ago, but I just had this moment where my heart just like jumped. I was like, yeah.
The feeling is mutual. I'm glad to do this.
Me too. I keep inviting Nick, but it's not connecting him. I don't know what the drama is at this moment in time.
So we're waiting for our dear Nick.
Yeah. Looks
Okay.
like Nick's in the room, but not joining us. I wonder if he's having the same technical issues he had that one time.
Oh, good.
But oh my God, thank God, it happened.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Just sitting there staring at you both, and it wouldn't let me do anything.
this is me.
I mean, I enjoy looking at you both, but
Here we are. So glad we're here. Today we're talking about companionship.
companionship.
Cool. Who wants to start us off? I can go ahead. When thinking about companionship, I think about it in tandem with partnership. But for like different spheres, I think obviously the first place that my mind went was romantic companionship. Looking for a partner, a companion. And thinking about how my relationship over the years has shifted, like from monogamy through polygamy, and it kind of ebbs and flows. And so when I think about companionship in those spheres, it's very much linked to the intention behind my needs. But I also think about companionship like by intention, like by different activities. You know, that I have a favorite companion to the movies, right? I have a favorite companion to go to dinner with. I have a favorite companion to go dancing with. And for me, it's a little bit where I draw the distinction from partnership is like partnership is like, okay, let's build this thing together, you and I, a relationship, a business, an education, a coaching relationship. Whereas companionship is more just like who matches my level of interest, dedication, and joy from a particular thing. Like who I want to hold hands with as I, skip down the street, or who's my Starbucks buddy, who's my Dungeons and Dragons buddy, who's my Catan buddy, So that's where I'm coming at this from. I'm looking at companionship, and that's complete for now.
Yeah, I mean, when I had suggested this as a topic, and I know that Nick had asked me, like, are you holding that as separate partnership? Because we obviously just recently did one around partnership, and then Yves-Olivier, you started looking at that. like, I get it. Like, those are two very closely linked terms, but I think actually I'm pretty confident, like, I do hold them really as separate. So what I see is that a partnership is like something very active, like towards a goal or something. Like I see someone as a partner in terms of like you two are working together to get somewhere else. And the something else can be like not tangible. Like it could be like, you know, to, I don't know, like love and support each other. But like it's being hand in hand in a journey versus when I think of companionship, I think of it someone next to me. So it's not someone holding my hand, but it's someone next to me. And I think both can be have really deep connection. I think both can have really deep intimacy. I think there's a lot of overlaps. It makes a lot of sense that we're starting with this conversation. But it's almost like I see companionship almost as like parallel play, right? Like it's like I'm playing over here and you're playing over here, but we're really into playing next to each other. Like we're really into each other, right? A companion is someone that's like a witness to your life, is what I'm seeing. And I have way more thoughts, but I think I'm going to stop there and come back to my other stuff.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I love that we're starting here because of my response to this. And I've been thinking about this, right? And trying to distinguish them for myself because they are so, as we've established, they're so closely enmeshed. And I don't know that I have the words to articulate it, but the thing that I keep coming back to is this thing around companionship. Like, there's something about the physical presence or just the presence in general of a companion. Like, they can just be there. Like, a companion, like, and Yves-Olivier gave some great examples of, like, I have this person I like to go to movies with, or I have this person that I like to do my tabletop games with, or there are like those companions in different ways. And there's something about, and Yves-Olivier also distinguished partnership as like this, there's something creative, right? Like there's something there's like a genesis moment, I don't know. And so, and as I've been thinking about it, yeah, there's something about companionship that is just being with someone else. And I don't know that I mean, you can have that with a partnership, but you don't have to have that with a partnership, if that makes sense. They're not mutually exclusive. And I've been trying to come up with scenarios to counter that, and I don't really have any. So it's difficult for me sometimes conceptually when things are so enmeshed to get really like in the weeds with it, and I can't, like, my brain is just not going there with it.
Well, Gabby, I love that you brought in the parallel play.
Yeah.
Recently discovered like as a love language even. And I really like that working definition when we're talking about companionship, because the thing, whatever's in the space, doesn't have to be the shared goal or ideal. It's just the sharing of space, the sharing of love, the sharing of energy.
Yeah, the sharing of energy. Yeah. I also like when I think of companionship, I think of a hug, right? Like it's a little fixy, but like I'm fine with it. Like I just like to me, a companion is like the epitome of comfort, of a hug, of not feeling alone, of again having a witness your life, of like being loved, loving someone else, right? Like, and those can exist with or without partnership. Partnership can exist with or without companionship. But if we're really zooming in on what companionship is, like, obviously what made me think of companionship was thinking about my new puppy and like the love and frustration that comes with that. But like this idea that you're just like, again, like maybe for me, it's just like a mix around a lot of traumas, but just having someone next to me as a quote unquote companion feels like access to safety and a feeling of safety for me.
Yeah, so y'all know that I just love language, and so I like to look up little definitions and etymology of words, and the definition of companion is it's just it's someone that you, or an animal that you spend a lot of time with. You just spend time with them, right? And I don't know, like there's something about that is different than partnership with for me, right? Because partner, yeah, I may spend a lot of time with them, but there's something more there's something really active and energized about that. With a companion, there's something about just the stasis of of that relationship, right? Or whatever that is. Also interestingly, the original root of companion is in Latin, and it's from two different words, which means together with bread, or one who breaks bread with another, which is yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
which is
so into that.
I is right. Yeah, it's an old French word that I would butcher if I tried to say it, but yeah, it's just I think it's compagnon, but um, yeah, I love that image of like one that you break bread with, right? I there's just something so beautiful about that image, and there's nothing like there's no doing in that. There's for me, although partnership can be being, and I know we like to distinguish being and doing, but like there's just in partnership there's that creation, there's that movement, there's that action, and I don't feel that in companionship. You may be doing stuff,
Yeah, like I feel
but
companionship is like solely in the being, right? Because it is still a thing, right? It's still tangible. You can still feel that. Like, it's not just someone sitting next to you for 6 hours, but there's like a love, a witnessing, even to some degree, like a support and understanding, but it's not this doing.
yeah, and you actually what's coming up for me is like that energetic connection, right? Like I can be energetically connected to a partner, but it's even more magnified with that. It's like, those people that you consider companion, even in a context, even in a setting, right? Like the friend that I like to go to movies with, like there's an energetic, for me it's going to the theater with I have a few people that I would go to the theater with, right? And it's just we just get it. We can just it's that thing that you do when you just look at somebody and the look says, you have a whole conversation with a look,
Uh-huh.
right? There's that's all energetic, right? Like that's all energy, and it's just more magnified or intense, I think, in with a companion.
And I think what's coming up in all these working definitions, right? Somebody to break bread with, somebody that you share energy with, somebody that you spend time and space with, um, is the intentionality of sharing a portion of a lived experience. Right. And of course, the companionship doesn't just go, oh, just like sitting next to somebody for 6 hours. That's not necessarily a companion. Because we've all been on flights and like sat next to a person. It's like you sit down, it's like, oh, hello. And then that's all you ever say to them. Like that's not much of a companion.
I love that you just said flight because my brain immediately went to Companion Pass, like on Southwest. Is it Southwest? I think it's Southwest. Right? You spend a certain, I think I'm gonna butcher it, but if you spend a certain amount on the Southwest credit card, you get a Companion Pass, which means that somebody for each ticket you buy, like your companion can go with you for free.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and so I'll try to make a deeper connection, but it's so funny that you used flight, and immediately I was like, what about Companion Pass? What's interesting about Companion Pass, I think that it used to be I really don't know this, so I'm definitely putting this information to the universe. But I think it used to be that you could list 3 companions that could like fly with you for free, but now you can only list one. So if we want to make meaning out of that outside of hashtag business, I think that's I thought it was kind of cool in the beginning, the fact that they considered you to have more than one person that could travel with you. Because I think oftentimes we get a little closed-minded about this, like, monolithic love.
Yeah, monogamy is seen as the standard.
Mhm.
Well, and I was gonna say conversely, what's happening in my head is that we use this generic term of partner, right? Of like romantic partner, sexual partner. Um, but in the definitions that we're using or the language that we're using around companion, I'm like, I would rather say like companion because and for me, like I usually have multiple at a time, right? So it's like I don't know, they're companions more than partners.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can still create like you can create love and life, and I mean you can create a lot in that too. So partner may still be um, appropriate, but I'm thinking just in the since you brought up the that linguistic thing around companion paths, I'm like, oh, actually, I don't want to say partner, I want to say companion.
Well, what I got from that, this is so funny because one thing that a lot of people make fun of me for is like, I call so many of my friends like my best friend. And like best implies like one, or like maybe you can have two. But like so many of my friends are my best friend. And people make fun of me, and it doesn't actually matter. But what I'm getting from this is that my desire to call so many people best friend is because like I really want to communicate that this isn't just a friend. Like this is an elevated friend. And what I'm getting now is maybe my feeling, like who I'm characterizing as my best friend, it's that they're my companion.
Mm.
Like this desire, like if you're a best friend versus a friend and I'm calling you a best friend versus a friend, it's because I really want to honor that we have something deeper, that we have something more meaningful. And I don't want to say than just friends, because friends are fucking amazing, best construct in the world. But like, I want to honor deeper relationships that are probably companions.
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing that to the table. So if we're going to look at this from an ontological lens,
Hmm.
what's the thing that companionship gives us access to outside of like a colleague or an acquaintance or just a friend? I think I'm happy to go first. And when I think about it, the thing that I get access to from a companion is peace. Like there's like an inner
Mm.
settling
Mm.
that is
Mm.
separate from
Mm.
the hustle and bustle of friendship or the hustle and bustle of like a dance partner or just like going out to a bar with some friends, because that has a certain energy to it. Whereas like a companion or companionship gives me a certain inner peace.
Wow. Wow, thank you so much for that. It's interesting tying that to this notion of or that signifier we use around best friends, right? Because think of the people that I call my best friends, and these are conversations that I've had around, the people that I call my best friends, like we don't have to like I don't want to say edifice or like you don't have to do anything with them. Like we could just sit and chill and just like do nothing
Mm-hmm.
because we've spent so much time together, we know each other so well, like there's no putting on or like
No
we don't feel like
performance.
we have to yes, you'd feel like you don't have to entertain them, right? And it's completely different being than with I mean I have a lot of close friends and close, you know, and if we're going to continue to, if there's a spectrum of relationship, right? Like get to acquaintances, right? Like I do a lot of work with acquaintances, right? And and that's a whole other topic for another time. But you know, just thinking about the people that I consider my best friends that I'm now going to start calling my companions. Um, I don't have to do work with them. I can just be with them. We can just be in a space, you know. But I love thinking about it as like peace. I think that's right. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I and I shared this earlier, but for me, what I get access to um, is safety, and I think it's like
Mm,
the peace thing. But you know, for me and my individual lovely bag, we've lost Yves-Olivier.
oh no.
My lovely bag of traumas. Um, um, I've got for me, it comes down to not feeling safe. Hi, welcome back. The thing that I find that I search for in every single aspect of my life is safety. Um,
Mm.
and I have always felt that a companion gives me a level of safety. Whether that's legitimate or not legitimate, that feels like a safety blanket, literally and figuratively, for me. Um,
Mm.
knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that I'm loved, knowing that I'm seen and witnessed, um, feels special and safe.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah, thanks for that.
Thanks so much. And I like that we're looking at this because in distinguishing, okay, the peace, the inner peace, the safety, is like, okay, this is the litmus test for companionship. This
Ooh.
is what I need, the things that I name. These are my um, requirements for satisfaction in these different relationships. Right. And I say litmus test because oftentimes it's easy to confuse that with, people with whom, for instance, you might have a trauma bond, right? Which is
Yeah.
outside companionship.
Yeah.
But the sensation of connection is just as intense.
Yeah. How or where does because I thinking about peace and safety as a litmus test for companionship. I'm also thinking about, you know, when we talk about as coaches, when we talk about partnership, we also talk about trust and intimacy, right? Those are elements of partnership. And I think they're elements of companionship, but I'm wondering if trust and intimacy are analogs of this peace and safety. What do you, how does that land? Am I totally off? What do you think?
I don't know the word analog.
Like an analogy, like
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
I know the word analog.
yeah.
Intimacy, and I said this earlier, intimacy I see as being present in both partnership and companionship,
Mm-hmm.
and not even necessarily being required for either. But I see them often being present for both.
Hmm.
Trust got me stumped.
Well, me too. But when you started talking about safety, I was like, yes, 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 yes. And then I was thinking about like what is required to feel safe. For me, it's trust, right? And then of course that my brain went over to as coaches what we talk about, you know, in a relationship, right? Or as trust and intimacy. And so it got me thinking, um, well, it made me think this is a really like heady, like deep topic, and it's such a beautiful conversation. And I love that we're trying to parse out companionship and partnership and what it means and what it looks like. And it's leading to all these other questions for me, like trust and safety, compare and contrast. You know, anyway, I'm stumped too. And maybe that's okay.
For me, partnership also feels like heavy. Like it's obviously like such an amazing, or for me, I hold it as this like amazing, beautiful thing. But like I
Hmm.
find partnership challenging, right? It's one of the big things that I work on. And for me, companionship just feels easy. Like I literally make this face. It's just fun. You've got a buddy. Like I literally like through this, and I'm not typically a visual person, but I just keep seeing like this huge yellow dandelion. Like that's companionship to me. This is just
Hmm.
and it's summer and it's that safety blanket and it's that peace, but it's also not this like whole thing to get there. It's not this like challenge. It's just you've got a buddy and it's summertime and you're dancing among the dandelions.
Yeah, it's not contingent on anything nor doing anything.
Yeah.
Mm. You know, partnership is really focused on the impact or the results or the, you know, I mean, companionship. I don't feel like I need to, I don't feel like I'm so focused on the results or I mean, maybe the impact, but you know, you may or may not be moving towards something. And there's in partnership, there's something, I don't know a better word than contractual. Even if it's like a romantic partnership, right? Like there's something contractual, which means that there's like an outcome that we're expecting. I don't feel that in companionship.
Hmm.
I'm sure one of you has a better way to say that, but there's something about results and impact and outcomes for me.
Yeah. And
Thanks for
when
sharing.
I was living in Israel, I was in during my program, we were all living in this immigration absorption center, kind of like these like tiny, tiny, tiny like dorm rooms. And what we used to do is we used to salt with each other, which stood for silent alone together time. So we would be like having our headphones and watching our own TV show, or maybe we're like doing some work, or maybe we're studying our Hebrew, or like whatever the activity is. We were totally independent. We weren't doing stuff together. We were not partnering, but we just liked the feeling of like being in the same room and like knowing that we were like co-working. Like we did not talk, but we liked to salt together. So that you weren't alone doing your thing, but you were next to someone doing your thing. And I think that's kind of aligned with what you're saying, Nick, is it's like we're not partnering towards a goal. Like we are very independent in what's happening, but there's this like feeling of like we're in it together at the same time.
Do you think companionship allows more agency of self?
Not necessarily, because I think you can choose into partnership.
Hmm.
Mm. I like
Hmm.
that silent, alone, together time.
There are a lot of people I'd like to salt with.
I'd like to salt with both of you.
Well, we kind of do every week.
Oh yeah, that's true. We have a power hour.
Mm.
Um, yeah, we're coming up on the half hour, and I'm liking where we've landed. Is there anything else we want to share to be complete?
I just have this big smile on. I don't know why I'm so into this combo. Just
Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I don't think my definition has changed and yet it has. And I think that's just because with every conversation that we have and with all of this stuff that we talk about, I don't know that we always have the language to articulate it. And I don't know that the place that I'm coming to is I don't know that I always need to have the language to articulate it, right? Like maybe there are some things like companionship and partnership that can remain nebulous for me. You know, it's kind of like, oh, who was that? Some Supreme Court justice in defining porn said, you know, I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it, right? Or I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. And I think that's, for me right now, like I feel really good. I don't know that I can describe companionship or partnership, but I know it when I see it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you both for being my companions. I love
Companion.
going through life with both of you so much.
Mm. Mm.
You're the best.
Well, it's definitely reciprocated over here. Thank you.
Ditto.
Have a nice
Thanks.
night.
Love you both.
Like,
Bye.
Bye.
love y'all.